சென்னை சேப்பாக்கத்தில் உள்ள மெட்ராஸ் பல்கலைக்கழகத்தில் பாதுகாப்பு மற்றும் மூலோபாய ஆய்வுகள் துறை சார்பாக முதுகலை பயிலும் மாணவ மாணவிகளால் நடத்தப்பட்ட தியா 24 நிகழ்ச்சி நடைபெற்றது. இந்நிகழ்ச்சியில் சிறப்பு விருந்தினராக லெப்டினன்ட் ஜெனரல் கரன்பீர் சிங் பிரார் கலந்து கொண்டு பாதுகாப்பு மற்றும் மூலோபாய ஆய்வு மாணவ மாணவிகளிடையே பாதுகாப்பு துறையில் மாணவர்களின் வருங்கால செயல்பாடுகள் குறித்து சிறப்புரையாற்றினார். மேலும் நிகழ்ச்சியில் துறை தலைவர் உத்தம்குமார் ஜமதாகினி, கமாண்டர் RS வாசன் மற்றும் கமாண்டர் KS நாதன் உள்ளிட்டோர் சிறப்பு விருந்தினர்களாக கலந்து கொண்டனர்.
No longer the big brother, so they have started their defense spending, and they realized that it is better to be Atmanirbhar rather than relying on somebody else. So all of the countries, this is a major realization which is happening all across the world. So coming to multipolar world, as I said, why this topic is, these gaps are there, so we need to get into these gaps of IQ which is being. But what is this multipolar world? How do you define it? Why we saying that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, world is one family and all that? So why multipolar? You see, there are two types of multipolar world. One is what we describe, world is one family. The other is, which should not happen, is the asymmetrical multipolar world, which will be equally bad. You see, if the power centers, instead of one place, they get aligned at 3 places, but they are asymmetrical, then also, we are not actually defining a multipolar world. Multipolar world in true sense is a world becomes more stable and peaceful, in which it treats all its countries regardless of its size as equals. You see, this is a very important facet. While you will have power centers, but definitely the idea of multipolarity is that everybody is treated as equal. So that is the desire, but definitely the asymmetrical multipolar world doesn't mean that now instead of US, you have US, China and somebody else who are ruling the thing. And then again, the world as such doesn't grow. The poverty continues to remain in, so to say, let's say Africa or Asian countries. There is no sustainable growth. The climate change issues are not addressed. And the conflicts and power struggles continue to happen. So that is not the kind of multipolarity which is desired. So therefore, a multipolar world in which how we describe world as one family, that we treat all of us, and within India also, like that's the uniqueness of India, that we have such unity and diversity that we try and treat everybody else as one. Coming to the national interest, I just said how you have to define the national interest. Again, I can give you some specific examples. We are talking of our northern adversary, China. It was just mentioned in my bio. In 1987, we had taken tanks to that place where the war is now happening, or whatever has happened in the eastern Ladakh region. That was the vision of one of our generals. But then some of our policy makers said, we are not going to have any problem with China, so we reduced. Whereas China continued to do things which it did militarily. So that time again, this was a kind of on which I personally was in that area. At that time we had the best tank of the world called T-72, and China didn't even have something called a tank. It was trying to take a tank from Russia and trying to reverse engineer it. So that was the state of China in 80s. Of course, it had started moving. But then 80s went, 90s went, and 2000 went. In 20-30 years, it has done the change. And of course, after 2010 and 14, with the coming of Xi Jinping, it has started flexing its muscles. Otherwise, it was that peaceful and quiet rise. Of course, the US supported it, that's another thing. But that's where we come in, that how do we realign and align with people? So that is one example. Another example is, we said with China we don't need to build infrastructure, because again, we'll annoy the neighbor or whatever thoughts we had. So these kind of national interests or policy things which, because you should be very clear who's your friend an adversary. And to an adversary, the only thing which he understands is strength. You don't expect him that one day he will be nice to you and he will not attack you. But if he is defined as an adversary, you have to do everything to make sure that you address the challenges. And coming to the point which I started off, that if you need peace in the country, you have to make your defense strong. Diplomacy is alright, but diplomacy not backed by hard power has no meaning. So, if US wants to be the superpower in the world, US has no problems with Mexico or Canada. Why do you think it maintains the largest fleet of tanks? It maintains the largest fleet of ships, largest fleets of aircraft. Which is, what is it fearing from? Because it wants to retain that military power so that it can dictate things. Of course, the decline and all which we are discussing. Similarly, China. So when China was peacefully rising, why did it build this military arsenal and turn into this informationalized wars and went into high tech, and now it's into AI and everything and space technology? It has not happened overnight. It decided.
உடனுக்குடன் செய்திகளை அறிந்து கொள்ள IF தமிழ் பெல் ஐகானை கிளிக் செய்யுங்கள்.